Let's talk about the top 5 reasons why people cannot achieve financial independence and retire early. And the first reason is that people think making a 6-figure salary will make them financially free. The truth is that almost 36% of people making $250,000 a year actually living paycheck to paycheck. Yes, your income will matter as far as how quickly you want to retire early. However, your expenses will matter even more to increase your savings rate. I don't deny the fact that inflation is eating our savings rate away, but I'm talking strictly about your discretionary spending. If you're making less than $100,000 a year, but your mortgage payment costs you about 50% of your income, then you're paying too much for your house. When you prioritize your inflationary lifestyle over saving and investing, you're not going to achieve financial independence. And look, I'm not saying that you need to sacrifice everything to achieve FIRE. I'm not saying that at all. My wife and I love to travel, but it doesn't mean we're going to blow our money by traveling every month. And I want you to be very intentional with your spending. If you want to spend $5,000 on a trip to Hawaii, then I want you to intentionally save money for that trip. When you look at your budget, I want you to prioritize your savings and investments first. How do you save half of your income so that you can retire early from your workforce? Changing your financial mindset is more important than picking the right stocks for high ROIs or dividends. People who are living paycheck to paycheck are either drowning in debt or living way above their means. You're not Congress that can just borrow your way into spending. Having a higher income is nice, but it won't mean anything if you spend it all, right? Take a look at the things that you don't need. It starts with your discretionary spending. I also cut costs in my non-discretionary spending, like getting solar panels to reduce energy costs, combining a cell phone plan, or refinancing my mortgage when the Feds cut interest rates. You'd be surprised how much money you're paying for things right now that you don't need. But you know what's free? Is my financial independence resources, and you can download them for free by visiting firesidechat.com/contact. You can also check out the Fireside Chat shop if you're looking to start your own YouTube channel, and I have all of my equipment at firesidechat.com/shopping. The second reason you won't achieve FIRE is if you don't know your why. And knowing your reason for achieving FIRE is the main motivator. Let me share my reasons for achieving financial independence and retiring early. And I don't want to travel the world in my 60s or 70s when I barely have the energy to explore a new town or city. I want to achieve financial independence so I can give back to my community. I want to be able to pay for other people's groceries during the holiday season. I want to be able to donate to a complete stranger just out of kindness. I also want to create generational wealth. My family didn't come from money. I want to create something so the next generation and the one after don't have to go through what I went through. And before I pass my wealth to my kids or grandkids, I want to make sure they know how to handle money. You don't give drunks a drink, right? If my kids or grandkids aren't able to handle wealth, then I'd rather give it to someone else who can handle it. So you need to ask yourself, do you want financial independence? Do you want to retire early? I understand FIRE isn't for everyone, and that's completely fine. But if you're on the FIRE journey, you need to know your why to stay motivated. You need to know why to achieve your financial freedom. The third reason you won't achieve FIRE is if you don't understand the basics of investing. When you invest, you're essentially making that money work for you. However, not every investment is a good investment, right? You probably don't want to put everything in one stock and just bet on that one stock to give you a 20% return every year. You probably don't want to put everything in bonds that only give you a 2% return every year, right? But is investing in index funds the right course of action for you? Every share you own with an index fund, you own a piece of that mutual fund that invests in a basket of stocks. So for example, the S&P 500 index fund is a basket of the 500 largest US stocks that you're essentially buying. And the value of these stocks will increase over time like it has been for the last 100 years. Let me show you this chart to help you understand how compound interest works. If I just maximize my contributions in my 401k or TSP, it will take me 18 years to have $1 million invested with a 10% average return. Is it always going to be 10% every year? No. If you look at this Vanguard S&P 500 historical chart, some years it performed 10%, some years it performed 25%, some years it performed over 30%, but some years it performed in the negative or negative 36% back in 2008. But look how quickly it recovered. the average performance is still about 13% for the last 10 years. Companies like Apple, Google, Tesla, Microsoft, and other big companies will continue to grow and grow over the years. And that's why I'm very bullish on the S&P 500, and I will forever invest in this index fund. Not only do you need to have a basic understanding of compound interest, but you also need to know how inflation can eat away your purchasing power over time. Saving cash and just cash won't allow you to achieve financial independence. The value of your cash will decrease over time, whether you like it or not. I made a video about cash, and I strongly encourage you to check out that video link in the description below. You also need to understand Roth versus traditional, capital gains taxes, and other basic IRS rules for investing. I have a lot of videos about dividend investing and index funds, and I will put that playlist in the description below as well. By the way, if you need help with your personal finances, like budget, savings, and investments, you can schedule a free one-on-one 20-minute financial coaching session by visiting fireside.com/coaching. The fourth reason you want to achieve FIRE is not having any patience. And I'm seeing a lot of young people who just want to get rich quick and become millionaires overnight. Financial independence takes time unless you win the lottery. The common problem I see with young investors is taking out a margin loan to invest in high-risk stocks or crypto. I personally did options trading back in 2020, and I gotta tell you, it was fun because I made some good money from it. But it was like a few $1,000s and not even 1% of my net worth. I also own some crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they will never exceed more than 5% of my net worth. Look, I get it. Making 100%, 200%, or even 300% returns is fun and exciting, but you're gonna hurt yourself financially when you start borrowing money and not diversifying. And these stocks or crypto could crash 50, 70, or 90% at any time, like in 2022. Not only are you gonna get a margin call, but you're gonna end up getting yourself into unnecessary debt. Investing for the long term will always come out on top. If you want to invest in something like crypto or other spec stocks, you need to be ready to stomach the short-term losses or completely. In 2018, I started investing in a company called Tesla because I understood the fundamental analysis, the company's balance sheets, and the future growth of the company. At one point, I had a quarter of my investment in Tesla, and it was the best investment decision I've ever made. And the stock crashed so much, and I remember people telling me how Tesla was going bankrupt, but I had a strong conviction in Tesla because I did my research, and I still have a strong conviction in the S&P 500 and the future long-term growth of the US economy. And in the year 2022, most US stocks are trading at a discount, and people don't even want to follow the buy low, sell high concept because they're waiting for the right time to buy the dip or find the bottom. The best time to invest was yesterday, last month, last year, and today. I'm gonna keep buying the dip if I believe in these companies for the long term. And my point is that you need to have patience and consistency with your FIRE journey. You need to be willing to put time and effort into researching stocks, ETFs, index funds, and real estate so that you can come out on top. How do you want your money to work for you in the long run? How is investing $20,000 a year into a 401k going to grow in 20 years? Why does it matter if your investment goes down 20 or 30% in a year when you're not even looking to take the money out for another 20 years? You need to have the patience to allow your money to grow, or you're not going to achieve your financial freedom. And the fifth reason you want to achieve FIRE is not wanting to take any risks. And I'm not talking about taking risks to go 100% into crypto or other spec stocks, all right? When you're young, you have more room for failure and recovery from your losses. You won't get to do that when you're in your 50s or 60s. If you want to become a real estate investor, I want you to become a real estate investor with calculated risks. And if you have an idea to start a side hustle or business, I want you to take the calculated risk and start a business. If you feel like you deserve a promotion, go ask for a promotion. What's the worst thing they'll say? No. And you end up finding a new job with more pay? Hey, somebody once said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's from The Office, right? I took a risk last year by starting a financial coaching business because personal finances are something I'm passionate about. And I hate to see people living paycheck to paycheck because that's something I experienced in the past. I had a business idea to start a financial coaching business and make YouTube videos. A year later, I'm monetized by YouTube and TikTok. And I have clients who pay for my coaching services so I can help them get out of debt, budget, and work on their financial independence journey. Starting a business was a risk I was willing to take because I had a plan. The worst case scenario was nobody watching my videos or calling me to become their financial coach, right? Starting your side business will help you achieve FIRE even quicker with extra income. If you have a good business idea and you're good at doing something, conquer your fear and start doing it. I started my Fireside Chat business because I knew I was going to deliver valuable content to my viewers. What if today is your day to start a YouTube channel? What if today is your day to finally go skydiving? What if today is the day you finally ask that person out on a date? What you do today will matter 10, 20, 30, or 50 years from now. And if you want to know more about how to invest for your financial independence, be sure to check out these 2 videos. So with that said, I appreciate you watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.